Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Neota Network. So over the rest of today and the next few days, you're going to be hearing from both internal Neota speakers and our customers on how best to leverage the platform and getting an insider's edge on how you can use it and understand it in the best way. So as part of that, I'd like to introduce Mark Tyndall, who's leading up our markets and growth in the Asia Pacific region. And Mark, this is part of the several streams, so corporate legal, law firms, insurance, thought leadership, and the platform itself. And Mark's going to be walking us through improving and automating business processes, so how you can leverage the platform best to automate core pieces of your business. So I'll stop talking and I'll hand it over to Mark. Over to you.
Hi, my name's Mark Tyndall. I'm VP Markets and Growth for Asia Pacific at Neota Logic. I'm very excited to be able to present here today at Neota Network, here of course with our fantastic community of users, and to present on something very close to my heart. It's business process automation or workflow automation. Now, workflow automation has been around for a long time, but for many legal teams, accountants, professional services teams, corporate in-house legal departments, it's a relatively novel way of defining and communicating and improving services and processes. And I think that's especially the case when we start to talk about using tools like Neota Logic's workflow module, these tools that are aligned to standards like BPMN, so business process model and notation. So in this very brief 10 minutes, let's take a look at what it can mean to improve and automate business processes. Again, we've only got 10 minutes. There's no time to waste, so let's go. Having said that, please do ask questions or discuss in the chat, the comments here, and I'll have a go at answering some of those questions at the end of this very short presentation. Okay, to set the scene, my background, it's in private practice. I was a litigator. I worked mostly in financial services regulatory work, so investigations, corporate crime or police investigations into corruption or bribery, class actions, litigation, commissions of inquiry, things like that. So I dealt with a lot of documents. I dealt with a lot of witness statements, witness preparation, project management, logistics, client care. Now, I think some of the higher profile matters we've seen in the Asia Pacific in the past few years have highlighted a number of and well-documented examples of where the profession has done some really great things for clients in these document-heavy, workflow-heavy matters. But there's also examples of where the profession has made some pretty substantial mistakes. So my personal journey, or starting point on this journey, from lawyer to legal operations and automation specialist, and then to joining Neota Logic, was a series of realizations that there just had to be a better way and a more intentional way of us delivering our legal services. And when I say that, I mean delivering services without the massive cost to our clients and ourselves, without the mistakes, and just to make those services more efficient and in many cases more profitable. Okay, when it comes to Neota Logic, where does workflow automation fit in this picture? The three pillars of the platform, the three core capabilities of the platform are here on the screen. You've already heard about, talking about during Neota Network expert advisors and document automation. We're focused on workflow automation primarily, and that's a use case that we're going to focus on for this brief presentation for the rest of our 10 minutes. So what are we really talking about when I talk about litigation, financial services, big document review heavy exercises? One use case we've had cause to talk about within the Neota Logic community in the past few weeks actually is the workflow surrounding privilege queries. So what I'm talking about when I say privilege query is the process of an analyst who's reviewing potentially thousands of documents, a team of analysts reviewing potentially thousands of documents on a large-scale document review exercise, having questions or queries about the relevance of a particular document and its content, whether it's responsive or needs to be produced to another party or discovered or disclosed to another party or produced to a regulator, for example, and whether there's any privilege claims, client attorney privilege, legal professional privilege, depending on the jurisdiction in which you're operating, And what you can see me building here is an example of a workflow that streamlines that query process. Query and escalation to the right person, the right team at the right time to get an outcome on this query. So the way we do that in workflow is to define a series of swim lanes. In this case, you can see the analyst, solicitor, and supervising senior associate swim lane being created here, or lead senior associate. And the rectangular action nodes on this workflow represent applications built in the Neota Logic system. So that first one that says create query is itself an application that allows an analyst to initiate, create, launch a query to be considered by the relevant team members and ultimately, if required, the client. So at this point, I'm just providing placeholders. I haven't actually built the applications yet. What I'm trying to do is map and understand the process, essentially the service that I'm trying to deliver, or that the team is trying to deliver in this case. Now, the power of starting with Neota Logic Workflow is that you can map a process in whiteboard mode without creating any applications, any substantive applications to form part of this workflow. Now, why is that important? I guess benefit number one is it starts to create a conversation about the current state and the future state of this type of service. Nothing more powerful than mapping a process to be able to then take it to a team or take it to a client and say, are we all on the same page that this is what we currently do? Are we all on the same page that this is the ideal future state where we need to be and the type of service that we need to be delivering ourselves or to you, the client? And it's amazing sometimes the conversations that can flow from that. Having spent 20 or 30 minutes just mapping and understanding your current state, process or service in a pretty basic way. So at the moment, I'm mapping out placeholders. An analyst creates a query, it's emailed to the solicitor team. The solicitor team uses a separate application to review that content, and based on the outcome of that review, here you can see this logical gate, an XOR gate, that query is then passed on to someone else in the workflow. In this case, it'll be the lead senior associate. I'm not going to bore you by running through the entire build in real time. We can speed this up a little bit and just show you what it looks like, including to map out roles for the client instructor, but also a client subject matter expert. And depending on whether our instructor on the matter requires some assistance from a subject matter expert within their organization, they can actually have that subject matter expert participate in this workflow on platform, which is a really powerful thing to do. Now, why would we keep them all on platform? Why would we do that rather than reverting to email? It's because we create an audit trail. It's because all of the interactions with the workflow and with the applications are recorded in Neota Data Manager. And you can see here just a basic surfacing of that data. Each instance of this workflow representing a row in this sessions view. And you can see here in the session state, showing exactly the status of each of these instances of the workflow. Scrolling across, we can see that all of the data entered in all of the applications participating in this workflow is recorded, including the document uploads, and this can all be viewed again here in sessions view. You might also, as an accountability piece, decide to dashboard that data. You could do that here natively in Neota Logic, or you might do it with an integration, say with Power BI or Tableau. But in this case, you can see some basic dashboards telling us about the sessions or the workflows initiated in the previous week, the number of users that have been working with this workflow. Okay, well, where does it take it? We've talked about one particular benefit. What else do we get out of this process? Well, we've talked about traceability or creating an audit trail. You've got incredibly rich data that empowers leaders or anyone in the team to provide oversight and create accountability for each instance of each workflow. Know that things are being handled, things aren't slipping through the cracks. And in that reporting sense, also, you get a clear picture of where the bottlenecks might be. How long is this type of task, this type of workflow sitting with the solicitor team or the kind of lead senior associate, for example, and what process improvement activity can we undertake from there to make this a better service. So it's a constant cycle of evaluation and design that's empowered by, you know, a rich data capability like Neota Data Manager. Second or thirdly, it's just faster and more efficient. There's no need to put calendar reminders in for people to track every small task or run a personal Trello board, which a lot of lawyers do now. You don't need to manually prompt people to take their part or take the appropriate action in a workflow. People can, you know, now have reminders at the right time to undertake the work that they are ultimately responsible for. I think the key core benefit is that it gives professionals the opportunity to be more intentional about the design of their services. And when I say services, I mean both the back of house, both the internal to the firm or the corporate legal department team, the processes that support their service, policy, other collateral, documents, but then also front of house, the touch points with the client, things that they see and experience as a part of you delivering the service directly to them, and creating a fantastic streamlined form of that experience for them. That's all we have time for today. I can't believe how fast the time has flown. Please continue asking questions here and we'll have a go at answering those right away. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Mark. Fantastic insight, and I know, as we mentioned off the top, this is a topic that a lot of people are interested in, given the new remote work environments and just given the new business landscape in light of the global pandemic. So thank you very much, Mark, and thank you to all of you for joining us today. A lot of great content to come over the rest of today and over the next 2 days. So look forward to seeing you in the next session, and feel free to peruse the schedule. And if there's any other sessions that catch your eye, feel free to sign up. So thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing you all soon.